Panda Express is the largest Asian restaurant chain in America, more than 2,400 locations serving orange chicken and chow mein from suburban strip centers to airports and even military bases. But here's what's interesting. Unlike most fast food giants, Panda doesn't franchise in the US. Every restaurant is corporate owned, which means their site criteria are strict and consistent. And compared to their closest competitor, Pei Wei, Panda dominates thousands of stores versus only a couple hundred and stronger sales per unit. So how do they decide where to open, and why does this location in San Antonio on Huebner Rd work so well? Let's break it down in this episode of What Retailers Want. To understand their real estate genius, you have to go back to the beginning. The story starts not with Panda Express, but with Panda Inn, a sit-down restaurant founded in 1973 by Andrew Cheung and his father, Master Chef Ming Tsai Cheung. It was a successful local spot, but the real breakthrough came a decade later. In 1983, the manager of the Glendale Galleria, a massive and popular shopping mall, approached the Cheung family with an idea. Open a fast food version of their restaurant in the mall's food court. This was the birth of Panda Express. And that first location, it somewhat became the blueprint for their initial leg of their entire empire. A mall food court can solve one of the single biggest problems for any new restaurant: getting customers in the door. Malls in the 80s and 90s were the epicenters of commerce and social life. They guaranteed a constant, massive flow of foot traffic. Panda Express didn't have to spend a fortune on marketing to get people's attention because the people were already there. By planting themselves in these high-traffic hubs, they could test their menu, perfect their operations, and build brand recognition with almost no risk. They let them all do the heavy lifting of attracting a diverse crowd, and all they had to do was serve up delicious, consistent food. This methodical expansion in food courts allowed them to grow rapidly, building a loyal following and the cash needed for their next, even bigger move. While today only a small fraction of their locations are in malls, this initial strategy laid the financial and operational groundwork for everything that followed. After conquering the mall food court, Panda Express set its sights on the streets. But they didn't just start opening stores randomly. They developed a rigorous, data-driven checklist, a somewhat secret recipe for site selection that they still use today. Let's break down the 4 key ingredients in finding what they want in a site. Like other smart retailers, Panda Express relies on data. Before they even consider a specific location, they do a deep dive into the surrounding area. They aren't just looking for people, they're looking for their customer. Their official criteria state that demographics vary by market, but the patterns make things pretty clear. They target areas with a strong balance of residential population and daytime activity. While they appeal to a broad audience, they want areas where people have disposable income and value the convenience of high-quality, fast casual dining. Once the demographics check out, the next ingredient is all about customer flow. A location is useless if people can't see it or easily get to it. Panda Express aggressively hunts for high visibility spots. They even prefer to be on the going home side of the street to catch commuters on their way back from work. Their ideal spot is at a major street intersection with a combined daily traffic count of over 25,000 vehicles. This focus on traffic guarantees that tens of thousands of potential customers will see their sign every single day. But visibility is only half the battle. Accessibility is just as critical. And that is why the drive-thru is so important to their modern strategy. A typical freestanding Panda Express is around 2,700 square feet and needs enough land for about 40 parking spaces, and crucially a drive-thru stack that can hold at least 8 cars. Easy access, plenty of parking, and convenience are parts of the modern Panda formula. You might think opening right next to other successful restaurants is a bad idea, but for Panda Express, it's a core part of their strategy. They actively look for locations with quick service and fast casual restaurant synergy. In other words, they want to be in a cluster of other popular food chains. These clusters create a food destination. When you're deciding what to eat, you often drive to an area where you have multiple options. By putting themselves right next to other successful brands, Panda Express automatically becomes part of your consideration, and they're confident enough in their food to win that final decision. They also look for activity generators, and this means setting up shop near heavy retail, large shopping centers, movie theaters, and big daytime employers. Being near a Target or a Home Depot or a major office park guarantees a built-in system of hungry shoppers and workers. They're somewhat drafting off the success of others, letting other businesses spend the money to attract crowds while they provide a convenient and delicious meal right next door. Think of the mall strategy they started with. This final ingredient of their modern strategy is maybe the most important. Panda Express strongly prefers to purchase the land and buildings for its restaurant rather than leasing them now. Their own real estate page explicitly states they are pursuing purchase opportunities. This is a long-term power move. Owning the real estate gives them total control over their costs and their destiny. They aren't at the mercy of a landlord who might suddenly double the rent or refuse to renew a lease. This stabilizes their expenses for the long haul, making each location more profitable over time. This strategy is so central to their growth now that they have their own development arm, which actively acquires properties for new locations. And here's the other key part. Panda Express is not a franchise in the way you think. While chains sell off territories to individual operators, Panda Express keeps almost all of its stores corporate owned. For places like airports, universities, and military bases, they use a tightly controlled licensing model. This is a critical distinction. By avoiding traditional franchising, they maintain absolute authority over everything. This ensures you get the same high-quality experience at every single location, which in turn protects the power of their brand. Panda Express rules the American Chinese fast casual segment, and none have reached Panda's national scale or brand recognition. Realistically, they do not have a true rival, and they are in an entire lane by themselves. With more than 2,400 corporate-owned restaurants across the US, their closest direct competitor, Pei Wei, a spin-off of P.F. Chang's, has just over 100 locations. So let's test this recipe right here in San Antonio at this Panda location on Huebner Rd. Within 5 miles, this trade area holds over 311,000 residents in 139,000 households, plus a daytime population of more than 404,000. Median household income, about 66,700. Median age, 35.2. Young, diverse, and busy. Lifestyle data paints the same picture. The dominant tapestry segment are Young and Restless, Emerging Hub, and Metro Fusion. Younger professionals, growing families, diverse urban renters. These are groups known for eating out, valuing speed and convenience. And their behavior proves it. 92% of adults here ate fast food in the last 6 months. 41% went 9 or more times in the past 30 days. And over 14% ordered delivery, all above the US average. Then there's the street itself. Huebner Rd pushes 43,500 vehicles a day past this site. Every commute is free advertising. And looking around, this location participates in a major retail trade area, which includes H-E-B, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Regal Cinemas, Ross, office buildings with major employers. So this isn't just a location, it's a destination. Panda knows that when you land yourself in the middle of the action, your brand also lands in a position to win. So Panda Express did build its empire on Orange Chicken, but that's only half the story. The food got us hooked, but it was a brilliant and disciplined real estate strategy that scaled the company into a retail restaurant powerhouse. Their recipe not only has to do with their woks, but also with data. It's a formula of 4 ingredients: finding the perfect demographics, securing highly visible and accessible locations with traffic, positioning themselves intelligently next to competitors and activity hubs, and finally, maintaining total control through real estate ownership and a tightly managed corporate and licensing model. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Will Panda keep dominating Asian fast casual, or could some other group ever close the gap? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me which retailer I should cover next on What Retailers Want.